Hello and welcome into the Sporting Pod, along with Mauricio Ruiz and, yes, Tony Allegretti. I'm Cole Pepper.
Triumphant return.
There was a color guard. There were drums, cymbals, fireworks. Tony's back in the pod. And boy, do we have some things to talk about today, including the biggest story of the year in the USL Championship that got a little bigger today, as a matter of fact, with some breaking news. We'll get to that here in just a moment. We're also going to talk about the value of clubs, soccer clubs around the world, and the value therein. Plus, we have a big announcement for Sporting JAX that we will reveal to you coming up here shortly. But first, we want to invite you to join us with our big watch parties this week. It's the Summer of Soccer here in Jacksonville, and coming up on May the 25th, that's Saturday, the Women's Champions League final, Barcelona against Lyon, and Lindsey Horan there, the U.S. Women's National Team captain on Club Lyon, and noon on Saturday the 25th, and we will be at Culhane's Irish Pub in Tinseltown for our watch party, and that is going to be a lot of fun. Just go to sportingjax.com to RSVP.
It's amazing, too, because that one, there is an undercard.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, there is an undercard. It's just a little known about thing called the FA Cup final.
There is that.
AKA this time the Manchester Derby.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to come early, you may.
Good point.
Really good specials there, which I know you're probably not getting into, but lots of Bloody Marys at a very discounted price.
We like that.
Yeah.
And then the Champions League watch party for Real Madrid against Dortmund on June the 1st. We will be at both Island Wing locations, Southside and Bartram Market. We'll have a split squad, 3 o'clock kickoff. Again, we'll have more details on that. Reserve your spot at sportingjax.com. And then next month, at the end of June and into early July, the Copa America will be at Grace Note Brewing for the first 3 matches with the United States. So a lot of soccer watch parties. We invite you to come out and join us whenever you can. One of the things that's happening between this podcast and the next is the U.S. Open Cup, the round of 16. Mauricio, you and I talked about a little bit last week, but looking at what's happening here for the USL Championship teams, there are some great matchups here, Tony. I don't know how deeply you've dug into this with all of your travels and important meetings lately, but there are some great matchups here in the U.S. Open Cup round of 16.
It's unbelievable. I am definitely keeping up, and I am very excited. And, there's still a third tier or a third division team with NYCFC 2.
Right.
So that's, there's tons of cup sets still brewing.
I think so. You have a favorite matchup here, Mauricio, in the round of 16?
Yeah, I think just from an entertaining standpoint, I'm looking at San Jose Earthquakes at Sacramento. I just love when the lower division team gets to host one of these matches. So you got Battery hosting Atlanta United. You got Tampa Bay Rowdies hosting Dallas. But really from a regional standpoint, you do the Battery and Atlanta have a good rivalry there. And then Sacramento, which remember, not only 2 years ago, were in the final of the U.S. Open Cup only to lose to Orlando, but a really competitive team.
I like the matchup with the defending champs, Phoenix Rising, heading to Seattle to take on the Sounders, who always put a lot into the U.S. Open Cup. Again, we've talked about this in the past. In-season cup competitions, not just here in the United States, but anywhere, different clubs value them differently. And Seattle's always been a club that's really put a lot into the U.S. Open Cup.
Yeah, when they've got such a great history with it too, so it's amazing. I'm really excited for all the lower division teams still in it.
All right, let's talk a little bit about what I think is the biggest story in the USL Championship this year, and that is Detroit City. Their rise has been very impressive when you talk about their history and coming up through the ranks and growing as a soccer market. And in fact, today there is big news that the Detroit City Football Club has acquired the site of the former Southwest Detroit Hospital at the corner of Michigan Avenue and 20th Street for the purpose of building a new stadium that will serve as a permanent home in Detroit, with the goal of opening a new soccer-specific stadium by the club's 2027 season. This is massive news, Mauricio, for a club that has really developed a great reputation for creating one of the best game day atmospheres in the league.
It really is, and I'm sure there are a lot of their fans that don't want to see a new facility, mainly because they do have a bit of a home field advantage there, but it is an old and outdated, and that's where they played when they were in the amateur league, and it's just a great story of a community club that came up through the amateur system, promoted themselves into the pros, and now, we're getting to how they're doing this year. We forget they're kind of a young team in a professional environment. They've been around as a team for a while, but being a pro, they're really in its infancy. So there's a growth to what they're doing, and naturally the next stage would be looking at how do we actually get a full-time, top Premier League stadium to our fans.
Tony, one of the things that you have been dealing with, as have others with the leadership of Sporting JAX, of course, is finding that spot for a stadium that's a soccer-specific stadium. The importance of having your own building is so massive in soccer these days. That's been well documented now, and this is a huge step for Detroit City.
Yeah, it's paramount. Just a sustainability factor of controlling your environment is the major thing. I won't lie. I'm a little bit green with envy that they're
making an announcement.
They're able to make an announcement that is amazing and really good for them. And I agree. There's probably some mixed feelings. I agree with Mauricio because the current stadium is why is it Kenilworth, not Kenilworth? Keyworth. Dang it! I'm gonna beat me up later. Is such a good atmosphere, and they've got the train, literally that goes by during the games. It's kind of it's iconic.
Keyworth Stadium.
Keyworth, yeah.
Keyworth Stadium.
I don't know why I was going Kenilworth. I knew it was Keyworth. Anyway, what an amazing thing, and I'll be there next month, so I'll be able to report back. What the mood is there of this new exciting announcement.
Yeah, it's going to be something, and obviously as we have more teams that are finding their own areas for development, that's been sort of the soccer on the field and what's happening with the games and the teams. It always is going to be a main topic of conversation and the drive for the playoffs and the championship, but developing the league is also a major storyline, Mauricio, that we're following and will continue to follow here. We'll have more coming up on Detroit City FC as well. 8th in the East last year, 11 wins, 15 losses, and 8 draws, so they had more losses than wins. But they did upset the number 1 seed Pittsburgh in the first round before falling to Louisville in the conference semifinals. This year, it's been a whole different situation as they are right in contention in the USL Championship Eastern Division. We'll talk more about that here in just a bit. Speaking of Pittsburgh, they also had some news today. They announced that they have that they're going to start building a training center in the Pittsburgh area. It's going to kind of stretch their footprint in the metro Pittsburgh area, but 3-field training complex, Tony, that is kind of going to be the headquarters for the players and coaches.
Yeah, it's awesome, and that's how you do it, and that's how you grow a pro outfit. And Pittsburgh's got such a great history, and this is a big breakthrough for them, and it means a lot when you're trying to grow players.
Well, it's really how you recruit good players into your environment, good coaches into your environment, right? Especially those veteran players that are going to help you win championships. You can recruit the young players and the young coaches that are trying to prove themselves, and they'll take a spot with a professional contract somewhere. But when you're trying to build a legacy, and Pittsburgh has such a good year last year, so they kind of raised the standard. Now, if they want to be competitive year in, year out, and they're not having such a great year this year, you really need the facilities and the resources to back it up, because no veteran coach, no veteran player is going to want to go to a place that, every other year, or the luck of a straw, like you can win. Like, they want to know that they can win with the resources that are available to them.
Yeah, there are certainly some clubs that have already established themselves among sort of the top tier in the USL Championship, but it's not an exclusive club, and it doesn't mean you stay there. Right?
No, absolutely not.
I mean, you can grow your way up organically with how you handle the players, with the training centers, the training grounds, and more than that. We do want to invite you to become a member of Sporting JAX. Just go to sportingjax.com. It's absolutely free. You get discounts on Sporting JAX official club merchandise, invitations to VIP events, automatic chances to win special prizes and experiences. Plus, you'll get the Sporting JAX monthly email newsletter. While you're there, you can also place a deposit on your season tickets and receive first access to seats and a limited edition Sporting JAX founding member pin. Just go to sportingjax.com for details. We also want to remind you that, as we mentioned last week, the Premier League is coming to Jacksonville, Everbank Stadium on July the 27th. Wolverhampton will take on West Ham. So you can be involved there to watch the Stateside Cup. Tickets are now on sale. We'll have more announcements of our participation in what's going on there. Tony, we didn't get a chance to get your thoughts on it last week, but to have two Premier League clubs coming here to play, pretty great opportunity for soccer fans.
Absolutely, and there are a ton of Hammers in this town.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's really kind of remarkable. I think they picked a really good fixture for us in this cup. So really excited for all the fans that are going to be. I was talking to a lady yesterday in St. Augustine who's diehard Hammer and already got her tickets. Really excited.
Yeah, there are a lot of folks who are going to be excited about that one. All right, the next topic here on the pod I want to talk about is club value. And, we talk about what makes a club valuable, and we can get into the USL Championship conversation here in a bit. But, and this is the point where I have these stats on my phone, so I'll ask both of you gentlemen not to peer over my shoulder here to try to get this. How many of the world's top 20 most valuable soccer clubs, football clubs, can you name? And we'll see how many we can get to between the two of you.
All right, you want to go first, Mal?
Real Madrid.
Real Madrid is number 2.
Manchester United.
Number 1.
Arsenal.
Arsenal's number 8.
Manchester City.
Man City's number 6.
Barcelona.
Barcelona's number 3. So we've got the top 3 now.
Is it my turn?
Yep, Tony.
PSG.
PSG is number 7. The only French team on the list, by the way.
No hints, Cole.
I'm giving hints. Listen, I'm the host of this game show.
Tottenham.
Tottenham is number 9. We're missing 2 in the top 10 at this point, but 3 in the top 10.
Tony won't say one.
I know he won't say one.
He won't say it. I'll say it for him.
You say it for me, and then you have to go again.
Liverpool.
Liverpool is number 4.
Boo.
He wouldn't say it. It was his turn.
There's just some things I won't do.
Yeah. He would do anything for love, but he won't do that. Tony, what? Now we've got. We're missing number 5 and number 10 in the top 10.
Juventus.
Yeah.
Juventus is number 11.
Dang. Man.
I will give you the leagues if you like.
Is there any in the Scottish Premier League?
There is nothing in the Scottish
Not
Premier
in the top 20.
No.
So we're missing one top 10.
God,
2 of them, 5 and 10.
Okay, give me the
not Atletico.
The league.
Atletico is 13.
Okay.
You have a Bundesliga and you have an EPL.
Duh, yeah.
Bayern
Munich.
Yeah.
Yep, number 5.
And you have one EPL left.
Yep.
Well, Brighton's a selling club. It's not West Ham. It's not. What could it possibly be?
It is the only remaining.
Chelsea
is number 10.
Right,
there you go.
sorry,
All right.
sorry.
So you.
Shout out to World Class. Sorry about that,
There
fellas.
you go. All right. So you guys got the top 11.
Okay.
Basically without missing any of them.
Okay.
Even though Tony refused to say Liverpool.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you the rest of the top 20, and some of these may surprise you. Number 12, Borussia Dortmund.
Benfica in there?
Benfica's not in there. 14, AC Milan.
Yeah.
15, LAFC.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
No.
Wow.
Inter Milan at 16. Atlanta United at 17. Inter Miami at 18. LA Galaxy at 19. And NYCFC at 20. So
wow.
You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, between 15 and 20. 5 of those 6 are MLS sides. And values, NYCFC is $840 million. The others are all over $1 billion in value.
And are we talking? What's value? What's the calculus on that? I mean, it's not just.
I was told there'd be
revenue.
no math. No, it would be the value. Like if they were going to sell the club,
Right.
This is how much they can expect. This is their zestimate.
Right, a bazillion.
Yeah.
Right.
So some of this, of course, has to do with
Or in Mauricio's case, a Brazilian.
a Brazilian.
Brazilian.
So some of this is about the land holdings and that sort of thing, but also just thinking of the value of the league, which is interesting that you've got one Bundesliga team or two Bundesliga teams rather in the top 20. You've got one French league, Ligue 1. You've got a couple of Serie A, but this is dominated by at the top the Premier League and La Liga, and then at the bottom of this, I say the bottom, but the last half of the top 20 by the MLS clubs. Really surprising.
Yeah, and a lot of those Premier League clubs are owned by American owners as well.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
USA.
By the way, Man U valued at $6.2 billion, Real Madrid at $6.06 billion, and Barcelona at $5.28 billion. Liverpool $5.11 billion. Those are the top teams. So, one of the things I was going to bring up as a result of this is just to think about where Premier League teams may wind up being, USL Championship teams may wind up coming into this conversation, and how important real estate is in the valuation of the clubs.
It's a lot. I think it's a lot. Well, if you look at it, what would be the first right now USL team, the top valuation? I'd have to probably say Lou City.
Lou City or Sacramento, I think, would probably be the top two candidates.
But I think Lou City kind of laps them stadium wise, and especially sort of newness.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say that. But yeah, so you could make an argument for Rhode Island when they hit the ground because they've got that huge mixed-use stadium, massive complex.
Routers would be interesting because they're also owned by the Tampa Bay Rays, and they own Al Lang Stadium, which is a makeshift former baseball stadium. Mm-hmm. Now it's a full-time soccer-specific stadium, but still has a little bit. They're on the bay, prime real estate, and they own their own stadium, but also they're owned by the Tampa Bay Rays baseball team. So, but I would imagine that's a pretty high evaluation.
Well, no doubt Atlanta United gets a similar kind of boost because owned by Arthur Blank, who also owns the Falcons, and they're playing there in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Not so much about owning the stadium because they don't own the stadium, but the drawing power that they have. Again, Seattle was a club I thought might wind up just from an attendance standpoint, but they don't own their stadium. They play in CenturyLink or whatever it's called this year field, the same as the Seahawks. So
well, depending on the facility. If you kind of just touch you back on Tampa Bay Routers again, the Indy race goes through Al Lang Stadium's facility. So in order for Indy race in St. Petersburg, Florida, to operate for that whole week, everything gets shut down. I would imagine the rent to do that, to shut it down, or the kind of the land lease for that location to be able to do something like that is pretty. So depending where you are, depending where your location. So that's where location is important when you're building a stadium, because you can attract other events to that stadium. So because it's going to attract other people, interest from outsiders to be able to host massive events like international friendlies, like races, so forth. So that evaluation just kind of goes up, right? The more assets, the more events you have.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to follow as the years go on. Certainly, national broadcast deals also come into play on this.
Yeah, and sorry, I want to throw a twist in there.
Oh.
So the number one most valued club in the biggest valued sport is Manchester United, but they have a terrible facility that is just recently highlighted this week. Mm-hmm. It can't stop leaking. Is there some I don't know way to push them in their amazing valuation to maybe take out a HELOC and fix the roof?
Well, until this year, I will tell you that Barcelona is in the same component, right? Camp Nou was a terrible, old, ancient facility. When you went there, you couldn't believe that the best team in the world and the best players in the world played at that facility, but that's being redone, right? And you kind of look at others, Real Madrid, right? The Bernabeu was just recently redone. Man U is up in line, right? But you're talking about brands that it doesn't matter where they play, their brand is just bigger than anything else, but they got to keep up with the market as well.
Yeah, you beat me to it. I mean, the power of some brands is really overwhelms everything else, just the marketability. And interesting watching Sunderland Till I Die to see, that club go through some ownership changes throughout the course of the documentary, and what's important to each owner when they come in, what matters, and how do they want to handle it, and what are they going to do with it, and ultimately the market tells you how much you're worth. But these were some fun numbers here, and I think you talk about Man U, the Premier League is obviously the biggest league in England. It's also the most watched soccer league in the United States. So you've got two major markets where it's the most watched soccer league. And to have Man U, it's a worldwide brand. There's no doubt about it. I'm not sure Atlanta United is a worldwide brand at this point. Inter Miami probably is more of an international brand right now because of what's happened with Messi. But
I'm surprised you don't have a Liga MX in the top 20, like Chivas Guadalajara, or because I'm sure they're probably in the top 30 or 40 somewhere, because those are big brands as well.
Yeah, big, popular, big time.
I'll have to do some digging. I also didn't see anything like River Plate or Corinthians Boca Juniors.
Flamengo's got the biggest fan base in the world.
Yeah, so
really?
Yeah, outside of Everton. Yeah.
All right, we do want to end this podcast by announcing some breaking news here and now. We're excited about this. Sporting JAX is partnering with First Coast news stations to bring you more soccer. Starting this Saturday at 1:30 on NBC 12, the Sporting JAX Report will air, and thereafter the show will debut each week on Wednesdays at noon on ABC 25, and on the weekends as well. We'll have a re-airing on the First Coast news stations. You can also find the show on WJXX.2. This is Comcast 201, First Coast News Plus, as well as the Sporting JAX YouTube channel. Mauricio, Becky Burley, and I bring you the latest on Sporting JAX in the USL Championship, USL Super League, and youth soccer in our community each and every week. We are so excited about this. This also means that once we start playing games, you'll be able to watch Sporting JAX soccer games on First Coast news stations and platforms.
See, we are everywhere in this town. We're on your radio, on your podcast, and now we're coming into your living room as well. So you can't get enough of us, then we'll be there. But ultimately, just a really cool opportunity for us to talk more soccer in our city as we build up to the kickoff in 2026. Stadium coaches, players, and everything else that's going to come around our city. It's a great opportunity for us to just chat about it.
Tony?
Yeah, I think it's great. I didn't make the cut, so it's kind of
bring
hard.
you in.
Yeah, bring me in.
I'll be out of town a few times, so.
You're very busy, man.
Yeah, I have a face for podcasts.
Very busy,
I
man.
get it. Yeah, it's no problem, guys.
No, we're excited about this. To be able to talk soccer every week like we do on the podcast, and to bring you some great stories about the youth soccer in our area, and to let you know about the developments that will be happening and continue to happen with Sporting JAX. So we'll have a schedule of listings on sportingjax.com, and follow us on social media as well. But we're excited about it. So this Saturday, 1:30, will be the first airing of the Sporting JAX Report on TV, and that will again air on NBC 12 this week.
Clear your schedule. 1:30, be sitting at home.
AM?
No, PM. PM.
Yeah.
Big negotiation.
Gosh.
Yeah,
Dang.
we were able to get it actually in waking hours, so we're excited about it. All right, that'll do it for us here on the Sporting Pod. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and share it with your friends who are soccer fans who want to know the very latest in what's happening behind the scenes with Sporting JAX, the USL Championship, and the USL Super League. For Mauricio Ruiz and Tony Allegretti, I'm Cole Pepper. Thanks for listening to the Sporting Pod.